I gave Michael Jordan a tennis lesson once. I would say Venus and Serena.
Oh, wow.
I played with them, played tennis with them when they were 11 and 12 years old in Haines City, Florida, and signed them. I worked with Michael Schumacher, the Formula One race driver. Last day of work was Friday, so I've got free time.
So, I thought you had already retired.
I did it a couple other times. We can maybe talk about that. I mean, I'm retired until I find something interesting, and I did
Okay.
a couple times. So, yeah, last Friday's last day. So, yeah, I wake up in the morning and go, I got to do this. No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. Awesome.
Wow. All right. So since you got this as your first day off, what are you going to do for the rest of the day after this?
Well, I'm going to meet a guy that I used to work with at Nike down in LA for 2 years, probably one of the most creative guys I know. He's opened up this kind of really cool surfing store that has all sorts of, I would say, old style retiree surfboards, skateboards, totally out of my wheelhouse, by the way, but he's really cool. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to play pickleball and then play tennis. That's
Oh,
what I do.
I love it. I love it. I love surfing. I'm shit at it, but I fucking love it. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
God, you should get into it. You look like you got a little surf vibe going on.
No, I don't. No. I turn the water on. That's about where I leave it with water. But Dana Point, that's where I'll be today.
Okay.
Great area for surfing.
Cool. I've never been to Dana Point. Whereabouts is that?
It's in Orange County, just south of Newport Beach,
okay.
maybe half an hour. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just went to the pier just there at Huntington Beach.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Last time I was down there, and I was just like, all the surfing and skating in me was like, oh yeah, that's right here. And then, so like growing up, just seeing the magazines and the first person surfing through the actual like pier, like oh god, so many memories.
Huntington Beach, that's the mecca for that. That's for real there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Would you like to jump into this?
Sure, let's do it, man.
All right, Dave, here we are at Drawn to Your Story, and we're about to jump into the 10 questions. Breathe underwater or fly?
I know, it's such a bizarre thing. I think I gotta go air. I
Yeah?
like just the way I've always wanted to see the total perspective of something before I jump in. No pun intended. Uh, Plus, I'm afraid of sharks, and I don't know, it'd be cool underwater, but I get claustrophobia. But no, I like flying anywhere you want. I think is just where I'd be at.
All right. So this is the follow-up. What do you think you'd look like flying?
Oh
Like
God!
what do you like if you're doing it yourself? Are you got like a certain stroke? Do you like fly like Superman? You can just levitate. How do you?
These are such bizarre questions, but
I know, right? I know.
yeah. All right. What would I look like? I'd probably be trying to be really graceful, and then realize I'm totally out of my depth, and I'd be flapping around, looking for the what do they call that? The upsurge. I went gliding once in Germany, a place called what was it? It was the ball bearing capital of the world, Schweinfurt.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it's weird. I'd never done that, and I was with. I used to teach tennis over there a long time ago, and one of my students was a glide instructor. So we went, and you'd like start floating down. All of a sudden, you hit an updraft, and it shoots you up, and then you slow it down. You kind of soar down until you find the other updraft. And the real, I think, expertise is being able to find the updrafts. All I know is
Wow.
that after 2 hours of that, oh my God, I was ready to literally throw up. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
my whole family gets motion sickness, not me. But Jesus, I mean, that thing was just. He goes, yeah, one of the few guys who hasn't thrown up yet on the plane, but you probably do it down below. Anyway,
I
I think flying would be good, soaring like a bird.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just was watching a bald eagle yesterday, and it didn't move its wings, but it would go up and down and just like
yeah.
sit in this pocket. And I was just like, can you imagine just sitting up there and just like hovering and being like, and I'm sure it's like going like, where's my next meal? Let me find a cat. Let me find a dog. Like, but it's like, to me, it's just chilling up there going, oh yeah, look at this. I'm just chilling up here. Like it doesn't think of it twice, but from our perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
I was telling my wife, do you know what like Tiger Mountain is up here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from
So,
Seattle originally. Yeah.
oh, okay, okay. So, do you know how they paraglide off of there?
Yes.
So I want to paraglide off there with someone, but I like just like I'm not a big fan of heights. If I'm on a roof, I can do that, or if I'm, but you put me on something where I'm not sort of in control, or I don't have a say in what's sort of going on, then I'm like crapping myself. And so I want to do it so I can sort of break that barrier of myself and do that. So I think this summer I might go up and paraglide down with someone.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. All
Uh,
right. So you just said that you retired. What did you do before to pay the bills?
well, I've always been in some sort of marketing, almost always on the sports side. So, I mean, my resume is just all over the place, but everything from almost 10 years at Nike to 13 years at Brooks Sporting Goods, all doing, marketing of products, usually footwear, but sometimes apparel. I was always kind of a tennis guy, but I've had stints other places. I also had a few dead ends, what I call my career mulligans, where I went down a few roads where I went, what am I doing? I don't know anything about video gaming. Why am I at a video gaming station network? But
Where were you? Where did you work in video games?
it was called G4. It was based in LA.
Oh, okay.
It was one of these after 10 years or whatever it was, 9.5 years at Nike. I had a great, they moved me all over. I was in Beaverton, their headquarters. They
Yeah.
took me to Germany. I just had a great career there, but we were growing so fast, and all of a sudden, like meetings from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. every day, and weekends with two small kids having to go in and catch up. I got to take a break. So I got this unbelievable offer from G4, a new video, what was it? A new network that was going to be a TV network that was going to be about video gaming because they had a food channel, they had a tennis channel. Why not
Yeah.
video gaming? Fastest growing sector. Double your salary equity. I went, that's me. And I went there, and after 4 months, I went, I don't even like to video game. Like, what am I doing? I remember some
Yeah.
guy came into my office, and I going, hey man, how you doing? You don't look so good. And he goes, oh man, I was just up for 3 straight days. I going, okay, why? He goes, just got the new Call of Duty. I couldn't put it down. I'm like, all right, that's not maybe how I spent it. But anyway, I'm glad I did it. It was fun. Great people, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah. So, side note, I used to work at Nintendo,
Oh,
and I was a web designer there. But I would always say that I had someone else's dream job because I liked the IP and all that sort of stuff. But there was people there that just loved Nintendo, but also just loved video games.
yeah.
And I was like, someone else should sit in this seat and be like, I love doing this. Like, I'm so invested.
Yeah.
So I feel that sort of that pain. When you talk about marketing through all these companies, what sort of marketing are you doing? Are you working with advertisers to say, hey, we want to push this advertising? Are you working with sort of clients to say, we want to have this sort of this person push the brand? How can we like get them on board? Like that sort of thing? Like how
It's honestly, yes, everything.
oh, okay.
What you kind of get graded upon, at least in my experience, is one, the kind of the potency of your storytelling, and
Okay.
two, the way you utilize all the touch points of a brand through smart marketing mix kind of selection and tie it all together. Because if you can spend in any company, there's never enough money to any company, whether it was Nike or small ski brands I worked with back in my past. Never enough money, but it's how you tie it all together and make sure all the touch points kind of, I would say, rally off each other. That's what it's kind of like you have to amass your firepower, to use a kind of a bad
Yep.
military term.
How much
And
is oh sorry,
go
go.
ahead, yeah.
No, no, I was just about to say how much is like networking in that involved there? Like it seems that like, oh, I need to get in contact with this person for that idea. How do I get in contact? So, like I had let's say that you needed to talk to someone that's not at Nike, that might be a big name. You're like, oh, this person's coming out of contract. How can we like get in contact with them? Like, how do you reach out? Who reaches out to who? Everyone seems
Well, it's both, but usually you share some sort of passion. Like when I was
okay.
with Brooks, I mean, it was all runners, and oh God, I mean, the passion in the running field is like anything, it's just
Yeah.
incredible. And it comes to you, you've got people calling you. It's almost you have to figure out a way to deflect sometimes because you could spend
Oh
all
yeah.
day talking to all these people on your passion and theirs. So, but I mean, marketing's changed quite a bit with the digital. It's always been kind of digital, but the extreme kind of focus right now on things like social
Yeah.
media and influencer marketing, and it's good and bad. The one thing is, yeah, if you can tap into somebody who has a much bigger fan base, you're basically using their media power to sell your brand. But the bad thing is it's not always controlled by you, and that can be good and it can be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's kind of like wholesale versus direct to consumer. If you have your own stores, you own the message, but then again, you got to pay for it and you've got to orchestrate it. If it goes bad, you're stuck with a store that might be empty.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're using retailers, you're using the middleman, and you're using their money oftentimes and their passion. But um, yeah, if you do it right, they can tell your story equally well. So things have
So
changed, but I just love I've had some bosses that have allowed me to do some stuff. We can get into it, but
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that to this day I'd like, how d- were they nuts? How could they let us do that? I
Well,
mean just stuff.
what did they let you do? That one. What's a story where you?
I got a bunch of them, but I'll tell you one. Okay, so for instance, we were Brooks, and we were at that time we had been bought by Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett, and we were probably, I think we were about 400 million. We had come from 60 million. By the way, now they're at 1.2 billion, so they've really grown. But
Yeah.
then we were growing fast, but we didn't really have a stage to tell our story. We didn't have our own stores. Our website was okay, but no one knew we had apparel. No one knew we had a full gambit of footwear. So we decided to sponsor a circuit of running races, which at that time, and it's still going on, it's called the Rock and Roll Marathon Series.
Oh, yep. Yep. Yep.
28 marathons. Every marathon, I mean, every mile of the marathon, so 26.2 miles, you have a band playing. So if you're running, you got a band every mile. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And
Yeah.
at the end, you got this huge party.
Yep.
So our deal was let's sponsor it, and we can have the big when you have to come in the day before and pick up your bib at an expo. We would have the big stage, and you could see all of our product. We could tell our story and all that, and we spent over $1 million to get the sponsorship, and then I kind of said to our CEO boss Jim Weber, I said, yeah, Jim, but we also have to pay for the activation. He goes, what do you mean activation? I go, well, we need at least that much to be able to tell our story. Okay, what do you want to do? I said, well, we need 100 by 400 foot area, and we want to kind of create this circus. He goes, what? Circus? Are you kidding me? Why? I don't get it. So anyway, the good thing was I had thought about this before our team, and so we actually had got an agency to work on what this would look like. What it entailed, it was called the Cavalcade of Curiosities, and we bought a bus from Blackpool, England, a double-decker bus.
Oh
We
yeah.
brought it to the States. We completely gutted it out, and on the top, because running, it's a lot about analyzing your running style, what they call the gait,
Yeah. Yep.
and
Yep.
to say, oh, you run on the inside of on your inside of your toes.
Yep.
You are a pronator, and therefore we have special shoes for you. You're a supinator, you're a neutral runner, whatever it is. But we get them on a treadmill and we analyze it, have vector lines, the whole thing,
Yep.
and they find a shoe that best matches their running style.
Okay.
So, but everyone's been doing gait analysis on treadmills. I mean, for dozens of years. So we decided to skin it with fun. So we took this double decker bus, we chopped off the top of it, we put hydraulics in it, and so we basically in the bottom we put this thing called the Arcade of Oddities. It was kind of a weird museum dedicated runners, world's largest bunion encased in formaldehyde, all this weird
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. And we drive it around. We did it for 5 years. We drive it to 90 cities a year. and stopping off at these marathons, we set it up, and you'd come and wait in line and get your gait analyzed up on the treadmill on the top floor. And then when we were done, we would lower the roof because it was pretty tall, and the treadmill, or yeah, the treadmills would fold down. We'd go to the next city. So, and we had a circus there. We had a guy from Portlandia with a top hat and blue dyed hair, and he created this big show that talked about the properties of our non-Newtonian midsole material, which was crazy. It was like walking on water, Jesus lizard. It was crazy. I mean, yeah, and we did this every single week. Yeah, took this bus around the country, and it was a good several $1 million campaign, but people remember it, and at this day,
Yeah.
like, and you run into all these problems. First problem was, Dave, the bus has to go from whatever, Sacramento to LA. It's not that far, and it's going to take 9 hours because the bus only goes 20 miles per hour. Did you realize that when you bought the damn bus? Oh, huh. So we had to buy a flatbed to actually carry the bus. So,
Oh.
which kind of defeats the purpose, but whatever. We finally got the bus all the time to the site. But that was one of the crazy ways that we activated. And was, it was a simple idea: is let's make gait analysis fun.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, it sounds like you very much did that. Nailed that one.
yeah.
So now that you're retired, what are you going to do with your time? It sounds like you've got all this expertise, you've got all this great history. What do you do? Like, how do you fulfill your needs of that? Or are you like
Well,
done with it where you're like, hey, you know what? I did my time. I'm just going to pick a ball tennis and high five people.
yeah. I mean, that gets old after about 12 years. No, I mean after 12 minutes. No, I don't know. I've always been kind of I get enamored by a creative idea, and when good people have good platforms to tell stories. I mean, I did this once, and all of a sudden, I got some people that were at Keen, which is a great company out of Portland, makes outdoor product, and the owner Rory First is just kind of a madman in a very special way. He does all sorts of crazy stuff at the OR, which was the outdoor retailer. He did a big festival called Keen Fest, and he would have Ferris wheels and all sorts of bands. It was like a mini Woodstock. So I got drawn in there, and I acted as their CMO for a year, and then that took its course. I helped find a replacement, and then just recently the same thing with K Swiss. I'm a big pickleball player and tennis player, and so they brought
Yep.
me in, and so I did that job for a year, and just there's always something that catches my. What I'm going to be doing, answering your question, is
Okay,
I've been
good.
working for 4 years on this thing called Eatertainment.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you
And
come up with that name?
I don't. No, not me. No, somebody
Uh,
far smarter than me. No, it was one of the. It's basically Top Golf or Lucky Strike. It's
okay.
it's using an activity as a magnet to get you to hang out somewhere and buy food and drink. And
Yep.
for us, it's pickleball. So it's called
Okay.
Dink and Dine Pickle Park. Our first one will go up in Mesa, Arizona, in about a year. Working on the permitting. And it's, we'll have, I think, 15 courts, 12 of them indoor because it gets damn hot there in the summer,
Yeah.
and four bars, three restaurants, a dog park, a little mini kind of beer garden for small concerts. Yeah, and you come and you play pickleball and have fun and sit around and drink and eat. The revenue is based on 70% food and bev, but it's all designed to just like Top Golf or some of these axe throwing, all these things. People
Yep.
come there for activity and they hang around because it's fun, and yeah, and yeah, there's other companies doing that, especially in pickleball, which is growing crazy right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be working on.
So, do you have to buy entry in, or is it like free, and that way people just will come in and hang out like a
Yeah, I
bar
mean,
sort of
there's
thing?
different models, but ours would be free.
Yep.
You walk in there and you could play pickleball and you could go home, but chances are you can sit around, maybe watch. I think we'll probably have 40, monitors. You can watch sports. You can have trivia contests. There'd be great food. Just hang out. It's kind of like going to a park with good food.
Ah, cool.
It's,
I am. all for that. There's a couple of people that have pitched ideas around here that sort of spoke about how they're going to do ones where it's like a membership fee and then you come in. I was like, I don't see pickleballers sort of doing it like that.
Well, there's two models, and there's because I know there's a guy named Connor Garnett who's number 3 ranked in the world in pickleball singles. I've known him since I've been little. He's an unbelievable pickleball player, and he's opening up 3 to 5 pickleball facilities north of Seattle. And there's another company called Chicken and Pickle, which is 15 locations around the country, and they do the same. But Connor's is based more on what you said is like almost the membership thing. You go there to play pickleball. They might have a little snack bar, but that's not. Ours is just the opposite. It's mostly about food and beverage, and it's all like a great bar with some really great pickleball courts.
See, I'm more interested in that because I feel like I like the social aspect of pickleball. I think that's what really wins me, and the pickup games. Yeah. And I think that's the one where I sound like, I could go hang out there and I could get food and I could still keep playing and find a game after I've eaten, you know what I mean? Rather than sort of trying to chase down 4 people or 5 or 6 people to try and go and play at a place that might be a bit further away than I am. So,
well, I'll give you a few kudos because you and I met, a week ago?
Yeah. I'm already best friends.
On pickleball courts in Kirkland, Washington. And this guy was what I call carving the turkey.
Carving the turkey?
When you play pickleball, most people kind of straightforward and it's really consistent and they dink. Yeah. This guy's got this swooping side spins that are crazy. The ball's curving 180 degrees. It's awesome. We had a good time, and
we had a great time.
Funny on the court too.
I like to shoot the shit on the court. That's for sure.
You said one thing, by the way. Someone was giving you you're trash talking to somebody. You go, what'd you say? You said, "You can't offend me. I'm Australian. I've heard everything."
Yeah. That's pretty true. I was chatting with some friends of mine back in Australia. I was like, I'm shooting shit. And I was like, do you tone it down? I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I do not say the C word. There's some people that I'll like level it up a little bit, but how dark me and my friends are at home with like burning each other, like nothing compared to what I do there.
Oh,
so
okay,
I try to pump the brakes a little bit, but I have so much fun. That's one of the biggest things I enjoy there is that you go play, like, yes, I love my spins and like I play the court, like I think of the court wider, like where I can get into.
Yeah.
But like when you've got someone that you can like really just get into it, like did you meet Patrick that was down there?
I don't think
he's another big spinner.
I was there for 2 days.
Yeah.
I live down there.
He's another big spinner, but he and I will go back. So like he teases me about having a small mouth. So everything he'll be like, oh yeah, I couldn't hear that out of your small mouth, like and stuff like that. And I'll be like, that was a good one. Or I love like if it's a good burn back, I'll be like, yeah, that was great. So I love it.
Yeah.
With the Dink and Dine, how so what are you doing there? Are you going to be doing the marketing? Are you sitting on the board? How does it work there? Sorry, I forgot to ask that earlier before we jump into the big spin.
No, I'm actually on the I don't know what you call it, the founding committee.
Okay.
I'm not going to be the guy sitting there, taking meal cards or anything. No, I'll be setting them up. We want to do 5 of them. We had one all set up in Riverside, but at the last second there was a permitting issue, so we kind of bagged that. California's not easy to set things up in with the bureaucracy and all that, but all my partners are all food people. I'm kind of the sports guy, so they're busy working on making the culinary experience, above unbelievable. So yeah, I'll be on. I think we want to do 5. That's the plan, and I'll be on the committee to make sure everyone's trained and the pickleball experience is top notch.
Yeah,
it's my piece of it.
So, obviously there's going to be the first bump, right? Oh, this is exciting. Maybe 6 months of like, we go in there. How do you try and maintain that level of excitement to come there? Are you hoping people are just like, this is a free place to go play. I can get a drink or 2 and then I can go home after a few hours, or I can get a full meal? Or will you guys set up stuff like, I see the trend going around now where people are doing beer pong for pickleball, but they have like buckets set up as cups. And then they like try and hit them in there. Like, doing like nights like that, or
A little bit of everything. It's like keeping a restaurant. Let's just talk about restaurants for one, or we can
yeah,
talk about tennis clubs. That's what I used to do back in the day. How do you keep it busy? Because everyone
yeah,
can be busy on a Saturday morning or a Friday night, but how do you keep that thing busy on a Tuesday afternoon? So you have to. Now I'm just talking courts, not right now, not the
yeah,
restaurant piece, although it's the same problem. You just have to have a really creative and really, I would say, dynamic social. What do you call it? A person who. No, I'm thinking of the word. Anyway, these kind of the social programmer. They have to be good. And it might be, hey, right now our trivia nights are going great. And no, now we're going to do costume night on St. Patty's Day. Everyone's play pickleball. Maybe it's a special Hawaiian tiki night where there's special, Polynesian drinks.
yeah,
You just mix it up.
yep,
And the
yep,
more options you have, like the fact that we have a dog park, meaning you can have all sorts of things
yeah,
there. You've
yeah.
got the pickleball piece. There's places for kids. There's places for, you know, sports watching parties. Oh, another big piece of it is the corporate event planning piece, because
Mm.
that's what we found, especially with Top Golf. People are going there and they'll, everything small like a birthday party or bachelorette party to, I'm going to bring all my realtors in the Western states in for a 4-day convention and we're going to play pickleball and have meetings and we're going to, and we'll cater it.
Yeah.
So that will probably be at least, I would say, I don't know the exact number, but let's call it 30% of our business will
Oh
come in
wow. I
through
didn't expect
events.
it to be that high.
Yeah. So
Oh
event
wow.
programming is really important and critical.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's really fun. I know what you're going to answer, so but I'll ask this anyway. What do you do for fun?
Oh gosh. I mean, I usually play pickleball and tennis, but I do write a lot. It's funny. My daughter, my daughter gave me a present about 4 years ago, and I encourage it for everybody. It's called, I don't know, I don't get anything from plugging it. I'm going to do it anyway. It's called Story Worth, and so it's an app that you go and you sign up. It's like $60 a year, and they give you a question every week, and it could be something like, "Who is the most inspirational person in your life? Tell me the first time you met your wife. When was it? Whatever it could be, whatever. And if you don't like the question, you don't have to answer it.
Yep.
You can put something else, and you can write a paragraph. You can write 15 pages on it. You can add photos. You can edit it anytime you want. And every week you get different questions. And at the end of the 52-week period, which is obviously a year, then they will publish your book. So
Oh
I mean,
wow.
wow. As we speak, I actually have, I've written a bunch of these things. So
Oh,
you
this
know.
is
It's called
holy
Me
dang.
Memoir. I happen to do memoir stuff, but you can do whatever. You can do
Yeah,
scrapbooking,
yeah,
but it's kind of cool because, you know, all my stories that I have, people go, "Oh, you should write that down." And it's not meant to be published and make money, although, hey, that'd be nice. But I just
yeah,
do it
yeah.
for myself, for my family. It's really cool. So I write. Answer your question. I do like to write for fun.
That is awesome. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna take that and see. I probably won't do it because I'm terrible at like writing. Like I'll be like, I'll start writing, but I could draw this,
No,
and then
you could see. That's the thing. It's not about writing. You could just put your cartoons, your paintings, whatever in there, and have little inscriptions or not.
yeah,
It's a housing unit for your creativity.
those books are fucking thick. Like I don't think I've written that much in
Well,
my life.
well, let's put it this way. I think the maximum they'll do is 480 pages, and people say, "Oh, can I read your book?" And I send to them, they going, "Shit, this is like an opus, dude. I'm not reading all this." But they do it like chapters. Like I look at it's like a bathroom book. You can pick a chapter, and
Yeah, yeah,
I've got some good stories too.
yeah. That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Oh, who's the biggest athlete you've worked with?
Well, if you're
When
well, okay, I've worked with a few.
Yeah,
We
yeah. I
saw
feel like people
yeah.
want to hear that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got first of all, I would say Venus and Serena.
Oh wow.
I played with them, played tennis with them when they were 11 and 12 years old in Haines City, Florida, and signed them. So
You signed them to Nike?
yeah, no, that was for Reebok
Oh,
actually.
Reebok. Sorry.
Yeah, they later one of them Serena later went to Nike, but no, at that time they were Reebok. Yeah, I mean, but it was kind of weird because you literally in my position then I was, and I got a good story about that I want to tell you.
Yeah,
But
tell it.
okay, well, here I was at Reebok. I'm this is early 90s and I'm in charge of global tennis like sports marketing, which means I sign athletes, I organize events, I do touring. I didn't sell and I didn't create product. I did that later in my life, but I
Yep.
basically was signing. And I remember after my first year, my boss, this gets back to a little bit of some of the questions you gave me, but I remember after a year, he goes, Dave, like, have you review? Tell me what you're really proud of doing. I go, oh, well, at that time, I signed a couple of teaching pros. I revamped this program. We had a couple events here. I did that. And he goes, is there anything you did this year that would be classified as, defining your legacy? I go, what? He goes, yeah, something, if you ever I didn't have kids then, but if you ever have kids, something you'd be proud to tell them that you did. And I'm going, I got nothing. He goes, well, next time we talk, I want you to do something epic, you know, and something that you're so damn proud of that, and I want you to tell me something that will make my jaw drop.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm thinking,
No
oh,
pressure.
well, easy to do, man. Like, define the meaning of life and while you're at it too. So, so I mean, signing Venus and Serena, and it wasn't just me. There was a couple there. It was a team effort, but I was the one who actually played with them and made the call. Like, let's sign them because they are good. Because everybody
Yep.
and their brother has, a infant prodigy who's going to take over the world, and most
Yeah,
of them don't
yeah.
work out. Anyway, but that was one. But I said, okay, so we ended up sponsoring the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Then Reebok did, and we said, hey, wouldn't it be cool because we got all these players on a contract? Let's build a court somewhere in New York City, put stands up, and all day long, anybody off the street can come and just sit down and watch these guys practice.
Oh
Okay, let's do
wow.
it someplace memorable, iconic. So we did two of them. One was, and I don't know if you know New York City, but they're on what is it, the lower east side, on the eastern side. There's South Street Seaport.
Okay.
It's They're piers and they're they're great boutiques and restaurants on these piers
Oh, I
right
think I
underneath
do.
the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yep,
All
yep.
right. And at that time, I think it's still somewhat known for this, but at that time it was the fish market
Yeah,
was
yeah,
world
yeah.
renowned. And it was
Yeah.
all owned by the mafia, by the way.
Oh wow.
All right. And
Okay.
so, me being like, I didn't know anything. I'm from Seattle. I'm living in Boston. Okay, let's do it. Let's build a tennis court with stands on a pier. And I talked to a buddy of mine who was at the New York City Parks and Recs. I said, how do we get that done? He goes, that won't be possible. I go, we need to do it. What do I do? Well, it's run by the mafia, and you kind of have, you have to do this and that. And I said, well, what do you have to do? Well, I'll hook you up. So, long story short, they said you have to deliver in a suitcase $10,000 in cash and put it in this little tiny maritime museum, which, by the way, is still there. I went there like 2 years ago. It's this little tiny
No.
museum. It's about the size of my little office here. And I'm going, what? I got to drop cash off and just open the door, 7 in the morning, shut it, and just walk away. And that pier you want, all the cars that want it, because they had one of the piers had a parking lot on. It'll all be empty of cars. I went, so I did it. And imagine going to my bosses at Reebok and say, I need $10,000 in cash. You will not get a receipt. They go, pardon me?
Yeah.
Anyway, I got it. I don't know how I got it. And I did it the next morning because I had truckers coming in from New Jersey. They had all these scaffolding. They had seats. They had a roll-on court. They had net posts. I mean, they're going to just, is the pier cleared? Right underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, by the way. And I go, God, there's one car still left in it. And I went and looked at it, and it's this old beat up, like Lincoln Continental. It's got a stripper bumper sticker on the back. I'm thinking, oh no. I go, what do I do? And they go, well, that guy's kind of a wise guy. You just gonna have to talk to him. So I sat and waited by his car, and about an hour later he came by because I got to get this thing cleared. We're this thing we've advertised it. It's going to be big the next day. And he comes to me, he's kind of greasy guy, and I said, sir, could you please move your car? We kind of. And he goes, no, F you. Like, what? Sorry. He was just a real jerk. So I had an idea because remember, my job 4 times a year at the Grand Slams, Wimbledon, French, Australian, and U.S. Open. You gave away all the you had a room where you had all the product in it. You gave all the players their product for the next 3 months.
Yep.
So I said, "Sir, do you have any children?" He goes, "Yeah, what's it to you? I got two." I go, "If I could go in and give you a couple large boxes of Reebok clothing, for free, would you move your car?" He goes, "You could do that?" I go, "Yep." So I went up there, packed all. I said, "Just throw. I don't care what size. Just throw a bunch of stuff in these large boxes." I gave it to him. He moved his car, and we had this epic event.
Oh my gosh.
So that was one of my stories. A year later, the other one, by the way, we did on Broadway. We closed off Broadway up on the Columbus Circle, which now that it's done all the time, they kind of have street basketball things, but at
Yep.
that time they hadn't done it. So yeah, those are kind of epic things that did like you did that.
Yeah. Working with the mafia. I feel like The Sopranos and you. Like you need a cameo in The Sopranos.
I'll probably get hit. They'll probably knock on my door tonight somehow. I shouldn't tell this story, but whatever.
No, all those guys have probably had too much too much pasta and probably have heart attacks by now.
They just ask for more clothing.
What is your shoe collection like after do you have like a wild amount of shoes?
I did and I didn't. I wasn't one of these guys. I know some people I worked with, they like always like, they kind of pick it up for them. I didn't do that, but I did do a couple things. Okay, you asked me another guy I really worked with. I worked with Michael Schumacher, the Formula One race driver.
No way.
Yeah, when I was in Germany with Nike, they asked me what I wanted to do to be epic. Besides, we had signed Borussia Dortmund, which is a great soccer team, and we had signed Dirk Nowitzki when he was young, and Ute Pippik, and all these athletes. But I said it'd be really cool if we could sign Schumacher. They go, "He's not an athlete." I go, "Well, I know he's a race car driver, but he's a cross trainer. He works out with Bayern Munich, the soccer team. He plays tennis. He does volleyball. He actually is. He's the only guy who doesn't need a neck brace because he's in such great shape." So I sent 6 magazine covers to the president then at Nike, at Tom Clark, because I was over in Germany. I said, "Tom, this guy's an athlete. Look, he's totally ripped. He's built. He loves our brand. Can we sign him?" So he ended up letting me do it. And so we did like 3 different. We did his own racing shoe, which has to be flame retardant, which is really cool to work on that side of it.
Yeah,
And we did
yeah.
a cross training shoe, Ferrari red with a signature on it, and all that. And I got to do probably about 10 different TV spots with him. But I did get a shoe. I
Oh
got
wow.
yeah, I have his shoe, and it's pretty yeah, and. So I do have one of his race shoes, which, by the way, I have one that was brand new, and the other one was after 2 races, and it was worn down. He wore out the entire outsole, rubber outsole. I go, "Hey, Michael, we got you 6 shoes for the year. Shouldn't that, you only have whatever it was, 24 races." He goes, "No, He goes, "It's so hot in there. When I press the gas," he goes, "it just melts the rubber." He goes, "I go through a pair of shoes every 1 or 2 races. It's
No
crazy."
way.
So yeah, I got one of those. Got one of Jordan's. I gave Michael Jordan a tennis lesson once, so that was
No
kind of
way.
yeah. I was
That
at Nike campus. They had 2. Actually, they have 4 outdoor courts, and one of my buddies called me. He says, "Larson, can you play tennis today at noon?" And I said, "No, I got meetings." He said, "No, no, no. Michael Jordan's here. He wants to play tennis." I went, "I'm in."
oh yeah.
Before
Fucking
cell
hell.
phones, call my wife. Get your butt down here. Bring a camera, and we had to wait a little while for one of the guys to come. He was busy doing something. And so Michael says, "Yeah, I've always wanted to learn how to hit tops and back."
That's all right.
So, yeah, so I gave him a lesson on how to, turn the grip, brush up on the ball. And unbelievable. He was hitting him in 10 minutes.
No way.
And then he's
Wow.
trying to do it off a fast serve. I said, "No, no, no, don't do that. You need a couple years to practice this pure." But yeah, that was cool. So yeah, I've got some of those. The bad news is I had a whole collection of Prestos. Prestos was a shoe that's actually still in the line, and it's just really cool. Like it's kind of a running neoprene thing, but it fits all sizes. We sized them small, medium, large, like t-shirts, and we
Yeah.
did 19 colors, and we ended up selling about 2 million pair a quarter. Crazy successful. It was a fashion statement. I
Yeah.
had one of each one of the colors, and about 2 years ago, I brought them out of my garage to show someone. And I opened up a box and I showed him, and the midsole crumbled.
Oh God.
I guess you got to put them in a humidifier or something. I went, huh,
Yeah.
my entire collection, dust,
Gone.
done.
Oh man. I um I feel like I would have loved to have collected some of the shoes, especially at Nike. I would have been, oh, I'm going to get that one and that. But I think it's the skateboarder in me. So like when Nike did Savior before they did Nike SB,
Yeah.
like I was working in a skate shop and those guys came round, and I think he gave me a pair or something like that. And I wish I held on to those because I feel like that would be such a unique shoe to have as like a hold on to. But
I'm having lunch today with the guy who ran that Nike what do you call it, skateboard and surfing
yeah.
division. I'll see if he has any pairs for you.
Oh God, 11 and a half. Send me up.
Well, I don't think it's going to be 11 and a half. Probably more on a sample size, but whatever.
Ah.
You got to be size. If you're size 9 men's or 7 women's,
Oh
you're golden.
God. It is the dream. So like I working in the skate shop, the reps would come through and then they'd be like, "Hey, we got here's the samples for these. You guys can have them." And I'm like 11 and a half, 12. They would always be size 9s, and I'd be like, "Hey," to the younger cat, "You want these pair of shoes? They're size 9. We can't sell them because they're samples." And they would just be like, "Yeah."
But we
But
had my last day last week, the last day at K Swiss, we had a samples, and I love the I've been wearing the product for 10 years for my tennis and pickleball. And they had we got a sample sale. And they go, you can buy 4 pairs. So I bought $5 each. So I bought 4 pairs. There's still a lot left in the afternoon. I'm going, do you have any limit on the amount of pairs I could buy? They go, nah, man, we're gonna just trash them anyway. I go, okay. I bought 55 pairs. I have enough shoes to last me for 2 more decades. I should say 2 more lifespans.
yeah, I was running through when I first started playing pickleball because I skated a lot, so I'd go through shoes, but I'd like touch them up with like shoe goo and stuff like that, and I wasn't skating as much anymore, getting older the knees. But I got into pickleball and I was just wearing like Vans with like the Super Cush sole, but I was burning through them like no other. Like my toe would hang out. I was like, all right, next pair of shoes, and I had to get like the Vans running pair of shoes to play, and now they last sort of like 6 months. But it's crazy on how much like sort of just dragging you do to sort of get around and like run and stop. I didn't realize it would burn
Yeah.
through shoes
And I
that
spent a
bad.
lot of the last year basically doing educated videos on why you need a pickleball specific shoe. Everyone comes out there in running shoes. Running shoes are made to go forward and backward.
Yeah,
Tennis shoes are made for running hard, breaking hard. Pickleball, you go 3 feet to the left, 3 feet to the right. You kind of do mini steps.
yeah,
So you can take out a lot of the protection they build in a tennis shoe, all the overlays and the heavy rubbers, and you can lighten it up as long as it's stable enough you're not going to roll your ankle. So don't get me going.
yep.
I'll talk forever on that one. But
I know. I love
yeah,
it. The when I found like so I rolled my ankle twice the first year, but I have a weak left ankle from skateboarding and rolled it a whole bunch of times in car accidents and stuff like that. And so now I usually strap that ankle, but it's
yeah,
just out of like nerves of I don't want to like overstep that just a little bit.
yeah. No, you don't want to turn that ankle.
No.
You're out for a while.
Yep. What's your spirit animal?
You know, I was saying, what the hell is a spirit animal?
Oh, you've
You
never
know,
heard that?
no. I mean, should I say unicorn or something? No. And so I was talking with my wife last night because you prepped me on a few of these questions, and I came up with a really stupid animal. Okay, so bear with me.
Uh,
And I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. The lemur.
Lemur.
You know why? Remember Madagascar? Remember
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
crazy?
King Julian.
King Julian, the crazy
Yeah,
man. You
yeah,
know, I don't know why I kind of like that in my life. Is this guy who's just kind of like off the wall, but he was emperor and he made stuff happen and he sang that goofy look song that you couldn't get out of your mind. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
For me, I guess it's my spirit animal. Someone said this once about our brand at Brooks, and I loved it, and I kind of applied to myself as I take kind of my life and I should say I take my business and like my family very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
fun. life's too short,
Yep.
man. You know, and
Yep.
so that guy's kind of the epitome of that. He's kind
Yeah.
of.
I like it. All right. Cool.
If
Yeah.
you haven't heard
Mainly,
that one before in all your
I,
podcasts.
I I have not heard King Julian. I get a lot of dog, cats, monkeys. Uh, the mainly reason I put that in there is so then I might have something to draw.
I know. I figured.
So
I
yeah,
figured.
yeah. It's
Was that
a
either that or a naked, mole rat? But
then I would have drawn you naked.
yeah, I didn't want that to happen.
Uh, all right. What is something you say to yourself that you can't believe I did that? Negative or positive?
Um, well, hold on. There was something. I mean, I already said a couple of them, but one thing. Hold on. I was gonna write. I actually wrote this down. One. I mean, there's a couple. I'll give you a couple stupid examples,
Oh, that's
and
great.
a couple maybe more poignant examples. Remember one time it was I went to Stanford way back when, and I was in a creative writing class, and they took us into the Stanford Museum, and they said, write something, your thesis on whatever you want in this museum. So people are, talking about the sculptures and the paintings, and I, of course, knew nothing about art. So I did a 500-word essay, and I got actually a pretty good grade on it, on the exit signs. So
So,
my words of
what did you
wisdom.
write about the exercise?
I don't know, but anytime you dive deep into something, no matter what it is, you'll
Okay.
find like, why is it lit that way? Why is it
Yeah,
hatched
yeah.
that way? And I did, yeah, and the instructor, the professor goes, really, exit signs? Okay, there's an interesting one. So I did that, but um, you know, one thing that I'm kind of proud of, and it's totally outside of my wheelhouse, is I got an offer that's why I'm in LA, to come out and be the chief marketing officer of a company called 511 Tactical. Okay.
Okay.
And if you've never heard of them, it's a company that actually they have, I think, 100 stores, beautiful stores. And they sell apparel and footwear and gear for such, the military, for law enforcement, for first responders,
Oh,
for
wow.
Navy SEALs, for FBI. I mean, think of and the reason I'll pitch them a little bit because I just love this company. And a lot of people are kind of into their guns. I'd never shot a gun in my life, and all of a sudden I'm in charge of marketing to these people, and I'm thinking they sent me to Quantico for a week.
No
Quantico,
way.
and I'm kind of going, and I got a lesson on how to shoot a firearm from the head of the FBI firearms guy for an hour, only because my boss used to be a big shot in the Marines, and he arranged it. But here I'm at Quantico going, oh my God, like this is crazy. And yeah, and the people say, why is it called 511? Well, back in the day, Royal Roberts created this mountain climbing company, and they're all climbed Yosemite, and his wife was a seamstress, and none of the cargo pants were good. These things aren't made to last. They don't have enough pockets. So she created this great cargo pant. And they called it 511 because and I'm not a mountain climber, but this is the way the story goes. If you're a mountain climber at that time, the highest rated climb was a 5.10, 510. So they created the 511 for
Ah.
and so they called this pant the 511 because it had all these pockets. You could put all the various things that you'd need as a mountain climber.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
here they are, like 3 years later, and they find out there's a longer story to this, but the short version is they find out that all the FBI agents in training in Quantico are wearing 511 pants. Why are you guys wearing 511? Because they have enough pockets for their magazines and their guns and
Oh, wow.
their handcuffs and all that. And so somebody had the bright idea, well, let's peel off that name. Let's create a tactical company, call it 511, and then they still have the mountain climbing company under Royal Roberts. So all of a sudden, do the marketing of this, and I'm just talking to all these law enforcement agents and all these people that I didn't really have any connection with. And one guy, I said, "And why do you like 511 so much?" He looks at me right in the eye, and he goes, because you allow me to come home to my family safe at night. I went,
Oh wow.
whoa, whoa. I
Yeah.
mean, heavy stuff. So,
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah.
something that for me, it made a big impact because I went in an area that was off my, sweet spot
Yep.
and actually, created some pretty cool, I think marketing tools and imagery. And yeah, it was a fun time. I wish I was still there. Unfortunately,
How
they
many
grew. What's that?
how many fucking jobs have you had?
Um, a lot, but some of the jobs I have, I mean, I spent most of my time, I spent, basically 22 years of my life at two of the companies, but there's a couple of things, and this is cool, but would I recommend it to everybody? No. A
Yeah.
couple times I just took a leap of faith and went into an area and just gave it a shot and see what happened.
Yep.
Some of it, like, I was a really good tennis player, played college, but then I went and all of a sudden I'm in charge of ski marketing and I'm an average skier. But I
Yep.
would just go up to the engineers, ski engineers at Olin Skis back in the day, and I'd say, "Tell me." And I would just take all this techno speak they would talk about and just create it into kind of fun, creative
Yeah.
communication. And it was kind of what a lot of people were looking for because they're like me. Oh, by the way, when we did with Schumacher, I
Yeah.
had to interview. I took our ad agency, which was Wyden and Kennedy at that time. We took him to meet Michael, and he said he had a half an hour. This is in Monzo, Italy. Half an hour. We're testing Ferraris. We only got a half an hour, and so we had our questions, and we were there. And it was raining, cats and dogs, and I went through the 10 questions, and then all of a sudden we had another hour and a half, and Michael said, "Yeah, you can ask me more." And we're sitting there going, "We don't know. We don't have any more questions. Like we don't know race cars."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just start saying stuff like, "So, Michael, aren't you kind of afraid when you go around these corners like you might die?"
Yeah.
And he'd like answer him truthfully. Or one guy said, "Michael, isn't you like in a matchbook toy? I mean, what's that make you feel like?" And he's answering these questions, and all of a sudden he starts just laughing. He's one of the best race drivers to ever grace the earth, and he had an injury that he's in a coma now for. It's terrible, but he's like Michael Jordan, and he
Yeah.
started doubling over in laughter, and we're going like, what? And he goes, these are the greatest questions ever because you obviously know nothing about my sport, which is true. He goes, but
Yeah.
this is probably what people want to know about. He goes, we
Yeah.
should publish this book. I guarantee it'll be a bestseller. It was
That is
crazy.
crazy.
And
I
then, by the way, they would build his engine that had been in pieces all over in like 10 minutes and say, "Okay, Michael, go." And he opened the garage door and fly out in his Ferrari with this much water on the ground, take it for a lap and come back and give 10 points of what they need to fix. It's like, wow. I wouldn't be driving fast, on a flooded racetrack in Italy
so
with a car that had just been rebuilt.
I'm always amazed when people like know their body and their like products so well. Like I skateboarded, and when I was really into it, I'd be like, oh, I like this sort of rounded tail and stuff. But when there's like people that are the next level up or even higher than that, where they're like, oh, it's a bit soft here or a bit like I need this curved on this side a bit more to get that flick here for myself. I just didn't have that finesse of it. Like I remember seeing Steph Curry walking along and he's bouncing a ball in the court, and then he goes,
Yeah.
oh, and then he hits it and there's like a dead spot on the court, and I was like, and this is just on like a meme on the phone or something like that. I'm like, I would never be able to pick that up, and I think that's like that level up where your
Yeah.
brain is just seeing that. Like him driving around, I would never be able to be like, oh, here's 10 points to fix the engine or the car. I would be more like, yeah, that shit scared the shit out of me. I'm
You know,
good.
it's funny. I asked the head of the Ferrari mechanics team then, I don't know his name, but I asked him, why is Michael so good? He goes, Michael has such a incredible knowledge of how cars are built. And because he used to do, go-kart back in the day.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's one of the few drivers that can take a car and go to the absolute red line limits of it and then ease off and come back and tell you what's wrong. Because that's where you really find out where it gets. He goes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because if you go a little bit further, you blow an engine and that's $1 million down the drain.
Yeah,
It
God.
was incredible to hear that. Like, wow.
I heard because there's like on Netflix, right? The whole
Oh yeah, Drive to Survive. That's an
yeah,
incredible show. Yeah.
yeah, and I hear it's more like people are really into it now because it's more like the engineers of like how they build these things and like the fine tuning to get like just that like little edge above someone else. Like, so I feel like that would be more interesting to me than the actual like car racing.
Yeah, it's incredible. At
Yeah,
K Swiss, we had a collab with McLaren, and so I don't know where the connective tissue was between a heritage tennis brand and car racing, but whatever it did,
yeah,
and just talking with their teams about how they engineer a car and thinking about how that would apply to footwear like aerodynamics. It
yeah.
changes the conversation. Pretty cool.
That is cool. All right, who is your go-to person?
I got a couple of them. You wouldn't know them, but I always, well, I mean, they're just friends of mine that I've worked
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
But I
not,
think that's the point.
I call Gorbachev. No, what? No, I always look for kind of a voice of reason because
Yeah,
we all get these squirrely ideas. Let's do this and that, and I need someone who just look at take the emotion out of it. Look at the pure logic. No, Dave, you should not do that because, or give it a shot. Why not? So I have one guy who most incredible resumes. He's done everything from being a well, his last job, he owned Ferrari dealerships. Again, I'm not a car guy. This
yeah.
sounds like I am, but he owned that. He was back in the day. He was like VP of a commercial bank. He's a guy that has done incredible videos and films. He was editor of Penthouse magazine, which sounds weird. He's not, but you know, I know what you're going to think. But he was Texas Atlantic editor. Just one of these guys he knows a lot about everything. I
Wow.
know a lot about a few things. He knows a lot about everything, and the creativity. He was one of the first. He's kind of like Hunter Thompson. It was just one of these guys, kind of gonzo writing, just
Yeah, yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
but this deep breadth of knowledge on everything. And I call him and ask him a lot of times just on his view of life, and I always get illuminated.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Don Pierce, his name, incredible guy. One of
Don
them.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever talk to him and you want say, "Hey, go on this podcast,"
Oh yeah. Oh
I'd
yeah.
love to have
His
him.
stories would blow any of ours away. I mean, he's
Yeah,
got.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, if you want him to, pop him on. The
I'll come back with him. This is yeah.
um,
Go ahead.
what's an unspoken social rule that you love or hate?
Yeah, this is another one. One of mine, and it sounds like the old guy screaming at kids to get off his lawn, but just this reliance on cell phones for me is I'm 60s, right? And I just last 10 years I've managed a lot of younger people and even my
Mm,
kids who are mid 20s. I mean, it's just, and I do it myself sometimes too, so I'm not perfect, but this just everybody thinks they can multitask by listening on phone and still know what's going on. It's like, no, I can drive and text. No, you can't, dude.
oh yeah,
Don't even
no, you
try.
can't. Yeah, yeah,
So I remember they asked me to speak at Bellevue High School. All right. And Bellevue High School at that
yeah,
time, this is in suburb of Seattle, was known, it had one of the top high school football teams in the country. They won everything.
yeah.
And they were bringing people in from other counties and all sorts of stuff. They actually the head guy got fired, but for 20 years they won everything. And I was asked to give a talk there in one of their classes about my experiences in sports. And so I went there, and I'm there, and in my day, if a guest speaker came, you'd give them their attention. In the back row, there was like 10 guys who were playing video games on these big screens. And I look at my friend who was the teacher, who was the wife of one of my really good friends. And I looked at her like, Kathy, like, you allow these guys to do that? She kind of looks at me like, they're on the football team. They
Oh
can do
wow,
what they want.
yeah.
And it was so distracting. They weren't listening. They were just typing away and laughing. And I finally said, you guys stop. What? I said, if you don't want to listen to this, fine, leave the room. But, I'm trying to get your attention. They looked at me like I had, run over their cat or something. It's
Oh
weird.
wow.
But they did, and they
Yeah,
gave me their attention. But that for me is just, I do this sometimes with my team this last year. I just say, guys, please put your phones down. Let's just have a conversation, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know. But again, I'm guilty too. So,
Uh, I feel this. I feel I'm in the same boat, but I also like see the other benefits of like how it's connected people all over the world. Like we're having this conversation. You're in LA and I'm up here in Seattle. We
yeah.
wouldn't be able to have that if it wasn't for these technologies. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm guilty of it. Like the dopamine drop that I get from like swiping or like fake, like I fake shop on marketplace. Like I'm like, oh, that would be fun to have. How would I do that up, or how would I bring this in? Just for the creative juice to let go of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But so I could get stuck in that and get. But I do agree with like if I'm having a conversation with someone and they pull their phone out, or like if I see my phone over there, like I'll even push it away a little bit so I don't try to flip it over and turn it or something like that. I can see that. Also, I think I'm on the older side than I would be
Oh,
younger.
totally. I know. I'm a dinosaur, but
Yeah,
I think you got to find a happy medium. I haven't
yeah,
found it yet.
yeah. So you know what's funny is I find a lot of people, a lot of my younger friends, especially that in the skate world, they will FaceTime me before they would call me. So they
Interesting.
would be like FaceTime and like would chat like this, and I'd be like, oh, like text me or call me. And now I'm like trying to hold so I don't get a double chin up here. I'm like, hey, yeah, like that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, Maddie, I got a guy you need to do one of these podcasts with. His name is
yeah.
Mitch Junkins. He, incredible guy, the youngest ever executive at Mattel, but he was a skateboard champion. And now he has a pickleball line of paddles
Oh,
called
okay.
Veloz, Veloz. I'll hook you up. He's
All right.
incredibly interesting. He's one of my good friends.
All right, sweet. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I love my like when skateboarders hop on here, like and especially they've been older and they're like still into skateboarding. Oh god, I just interviewed a guy last week and we were just vibing. I got a mate that he's like 45 and I'm like 43. We're
Oh,
both
nice.
old head skaters, and we just text each other like, "What was your favorite shoe?" And we'll go on like a rant about shoes, or "What was your favorite? What skateboard do you think brand should come back?" and
That's
stuff like that.
funny.
So, yeah,
Good.
just love it.
Mhm.
What last two questions? What are three things that you were grateful for?
This is not going to be very creative, but I'm grateful that I have parents that have encouraged me to to kind of step out. The example is, in college, my parents, there's ability to go overseas and study abroad, and it was expensive, and we were kind of upper middle. Yeah, and we were probably. My dad was a salesman for 3M company, so we
Hmm.
had enough money. We were fine, but it was going to be a little bit of a stretch. And they just said, "No, go for it." When are you going to be able to go to London and stay at the Cliveden estate, which, by the way, was where the Profumo scandal took place, which brought the whole government down back in. They wrote a book about it called Scandal, and it was a 14th century mansion owned by the Astors. I mean, it was like this incredible place,
Yeah,
this mansion, and I got to go to school there for 6 months.
that's
And they
amazing.
encouraged me, so I'm so grateful. My parents, they could have been saying, "Oh no, we can't afford it," and they just
Yeah,
said, "No,
yeah, yeah.
you got to do it."
That's how I met my wife. She studied abroad in Australia,
Uh-huh.
and we both thought we were having a little fling, and turned out to be a bit more of a serious thing. So, yeah,
Well, yeah. Well,
20
my
years
wife's
later.
German, and I kind of said, "Yeah, I met her over there as well." So I'm grateful to have I'm grateful to have a wife who's got a global perspective. Because
Ooh, yeah,
a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they're kind of homers, and hey, I love that part of them too. But my wife, when you're talking about something, you realize that there are people that view life differently, and I think that's
yeah,
important for people to realize that it's not just about America and what we stand for. There's a lot of good, healthy, other ways of viewing the world. So,
yes. I find that being someone that's from the outside, that has lived inside and then has lived back outside, the the dome of how you. It's like we're in our own little what are those little shaker things?
oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yep.
the little snow dome or snow globe.
Yep. Yep.
Like we're in that, and so like you can see out there, but it's distorted, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna look back in here. So I just like to stay in my own world, and I feel like a lot of Americans are like that. And then people that have lived outside or traveled outside, then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it is a little bit different. Especially if they don't hang out with Americans outside of here.
Yeah. And third, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm lucky for my health.
Yep.
You know, I had a brother. Well, I have two brothers. One of them 2 years younger. We did everything together, and he ended up flying for the Air Force, flying jets for 30 years, and made tours over in the Middle East, and just the greatest guy. Retired, and two great kids, a great wife, and all of a sudden he goes in for regular checkup. And this guy played tennis, in college. He's in great shape, and
Yeah.
basically, you have 6 months. You have a brain tumor. What?
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, like out of the blue, and sure enough, 6 months later he was gone. And so that just really like, whoa, geez, this could happen to anybody. You should enjoy
Yeah.
your time on life, here on Earth. Make the best of it. It sounds so cliche-ish, but so I'm thankful for my health, but I try not to take it for granted, because a lot of my best friends, for whatever reason, had cancer, and they're dealing with it now. And I just went to my dad. That's why I was up there seeing you.
Yeah.
I saw you. My dad turns 96.
Yeah.
He's not doing that well, but whatever. And if you ask him what's the secret to a long life, he'll say two things. He'll go, genes and pure blind luck. That's what he says.
It really is. Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, this ride that we have here. But I agree. I try and be... So the reason I put that grateful one in there is so then because my wife and I do 3 gratefuls every night. Whether we're pissed off at each other, whether we're having the best day. And it could be something like, I'm grateful that I found that extra slice of bread to have toast. Or I'm grateful that we got to see the Northern Lights when they were here. Like,
cool.
It's something big and small and all over the place, but it's just trying to be grateful for all these little moments in there. So
That's
we try
nice.
and do that. Yeah. Last question. You have to wear a shirt with a slogan on it for a year. What does it say?
Yeah, I had some really bad ones, and then I tried to be somewhat prophetic. I
You
said, you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough.
Hey, that's a good one.
I wanted to somehow get in there. What I put on my tombstone is, I told you I was sick. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, it's mine.
All right, that's awesome. Dave, thanks
Yeah.
for sharing your life with us and getting on and sharing some of these wild stories. You have had an amazing, amazing life, and I'm sure there's still more to come.
Right now, I'll leave you with this. The guy who kept trying to interrupt me is a guy, his name's Matt Manasseh, and he is what they call the pickleball coach of the stars. He lives in LA, and he's a really good player as well.
Yeah.
And he coaches he coaches the stars. Matt Manasseh, Jamie Foxx, Emma Stone, Drew Brees, all these people. He coaches them. Yeah, and so he called me because I called him. So I got to call him back now, and I'll tell him about There's another good. But yeah, this is great. I watched your other podcast, and I was just totally inspired by him. So I appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you. I appreciate you for jumping up. When are you back up here so you can beat my
my
ass
dad
again?
will probably be up there. I probably come up about every month and a half. So I'll let you know when I get there.
Yeah, shoot me a text and we'll get in and play together.
Cool.
That'll be awesome.